this is not the time to think about relationship. This is the time to think about academics. Because you can't balance books and babes. It's very hard. Both of them need your time. They need your concentration. They need your focus. So this is the time to add value. Time to get an extra diploma, an extra certificate, an extra degree. Time to get an extra skill. We live in a world where competence is everything. And if you don't take this time to add value, allow me to tell you, is that value attracts value, and vice versa is very true. You can't place demands. There is what they say, some slave queens have demands that they cannot even meet themselves. You're looking for a person driving a 4x4, living in a 5-bedroom house, and you've planned to get 2 children and you want 1 man. You know, I tell you the truth. Before the man gets the 4x4, there is a level of even conversation. You must understand economic trends. You must be knowing what Bitcoin is and what Forex is. So you are there, your work is just to slay, to put eyelashes and makeup. You are there, your work is just to hit the gym and have biceps. They are looking for men with concepts. So add value. Are we together? Because when we talk about relationship, it looks like we are just talking about women. There are men, you talk to them, after the second sentence, you are not even interested. They are not saying anything. Nothing. Socially, they know nothing. The only thing they can say is otherwise. So number 2, this is the time to add value to yourself. Number 3, this is the time to work on you. This is the time to work on you. You need to be the best version. You need to come to a place and ask yourself, can I date me? If you can't, you know, your attitude is out. You even you yourself, you know, you have a very bad attitude. Some of you are dealing with addictions. So ideally, I'm not looking for a burden, I'm looking for a wife or a husband. This is a time to deal with some of these things on a very personal level. Never change because of a man, because the day that man goes out or the woman, you'll go back to the real you. I've heard of people say, maze pazini liacha gejo ya udem. Sasa hata niko bana kunywa. Na vile nimejinyima, usikai jinyima juu ya mtu. Make sure that this is who I want to be. If it's not for you, then don't change. If it's not for you, the first person to be happy ought to be you. Because it will take eternity to please men. Men can never be pleased, or women can never be pleased. So, this is the time to work on your addictions, work on your attitudes, work on your temperaments. The things you know, the gaps in life, the things you know need fixing, they will not be fixed externally, they will be fixed by you. You need to be so happy about yourself that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I can date me. I keep on telling my wife, you're so lucky to have me. Not vice versa. I didn't go to that marriage as a victim. No, you don't go there as a victim. No, you need to look at them and say, you are so blessed to have me. And I'm also so blessed to have you. Number 4, if there is a time to serve, is during singlehood. This is the time to serve. This is the time for ministry. This is the time for keshas, missions. Join a department. Hakuna mtoto unabadilisha diaper. Hakuna mtu unaanza kupikia jioni. Right now itafika time niambiwe, I need to go and play with my daughter. I remember during my singlehood, I tell you, Fridays nilikuwa my weekend challenge. I can't remember, most of the times I used to be outside there winning souls. It is such an amazing time. And I tell you the truth, it is a blessing to be single. If there is a time to do ministries now, and this is the mystery of service. You read your Bible, many ladies were found at the well. They were not found somewhere twerking, they were working. So you continue opening Instagram pages and going live. It is in the place of service. I tell you, you look so beautiful when you're wearing that ushering garment. And when you're on the praise and worship, there's a beauty that comes upon your face. That is not the same beauty we see when you become a kawaida mshirika. So this is the time to serve. Spend your time. Join a department. And I'll tell you one thing. One of the reasons when you join a department and you're serving and your salvation is public, it helps you to be accountable in your salvation. When the only person who knows about your salvation is you, yourself and I, then there's a problem. Even your neighbors don't know you're born again. I remember one day I was going to Eldoret and I happened to get into a bar. I was going to help myself. And someone saw me, akaniuliza, "Ai, wewe unaimbanga gospel leo, unafanya nini hapa?" Ambia boss, mahitaji ya mwili. And I was so happy that my salvation was so public, that because of that publicity, it preserved me. You know, Paul writes and says there are things I wanted to do, but I could not do. So where you live, let people know that you are born again. I tell you, it will help you, it will guard you. Missions, let people know. Your workplace, let people know that you are born again. They will see you in a funny place and they will tell you one day, "Ah, you faiku hapa." They will be having the end of year party and they'll say, "You mpe fanta, you know kanisa." And they are saving you from backsliding. And it is a good thing. So take this time to serve. You know, we will not be old forever. We will not be young forever. I met an old preacher. And he told me, "I want to do lunch with you." I said, "Okay." So we went and I was wondering. He said, "I saw you guys are doing 24-hour prayer." He said, "I am jealous." I asked him why. "I can't do it. And back in the day, these are the things we used to do." He said, "I have a family. I'm old. And years have passed." He told me, "Keep doing this thing. You don't have, there is a place you reach. You'll not even have time to attend a kesha. You'll come and sleep in the corner." So right now you're energetic. I remember there's a time we used to attend keshas. Tulikuwa tunaulizanga ziko wapi tunaenda hata kama tujaitwa. Just the fact that people are praying and preaching, that's the place you'll find us. So this is the time for you to serve. Missions, keshas, departments, learn these things. And I said, many encounters happen at the well, a place of service. That is where Rebecca was found. It was at the well. So I want to encourage all of you, join a department. Make sure you are plugged in somewhere. Even if that department is not what I call pulpit. You know, the pulpit has what I call, they are exposed ministries. There are things that will not expose you on the pulpit, but at least you know you have a place of service. Number 5, this is the time to cast your vision. This is the time to cast your vision. Form your mission in life. Set life goals and start the journey. God will not give you a person that has a vision for your life. God will give you a helper as a man. And God will send you as a helper, as a lady. So if there is nothing you are doing, you're just waiting for a man that has money so that you can get married. And this thing is not about money. It's about where are we going. So this is the time to vision cast. And the moment you begin to cast your visions, it becomes very clear who not to marry. That's how to know who not to marry. It begins to narrow down jokers. Because the path of vision is an elimination path. If you know I'm going here and you're not going here, then automatically we cannot go. I can't waste time with you. So let your vision be so loud. Start the journey to your vision now. Tomorrow waits for no man. Procrastination is one of the enemies of progress. So write it down. Write down the mission. Begin as early as now. 1,000 miles journey starts with a simple step. And this is the time to step out. I like the common phrase in Sheng. And nauliza, kwani ni kesho? Sio shoke. Ni leo. So for all the ladies in the house, as you get that person, let it be so clear that you have a place you're going. And allow me to speak to the ladies for a minute. For I've seen many people who got married and buried their visions. And then the man changes. And then you enter into depression. A good man will not bury your vision. A good man will amplify your vision. So by the time you have 3 children, you know, the reason, sometimes when a woman gets a child, she begins to feel like she's depreciating. And formations of the mind come. Who will marry me with the children? So you don't have a vision, nothing you're working on, nothing you're working for. And sorry to say so, we live in a very fragile society. The man begins to misbehave, and you're there as a housewife. I tell you, at that level, you don't need prayers. You need to ask yourself, is there something bigger that I can live for more than marriage? So your vision must be clear. I remember when I got heartbroken, I came to one conclusion, and I said, all the people that broke my heart, I saw them continuing their life. I'm the only one who had abandoned my vision to please a woman. And that's the most silliest thing you can do. It is not love, it is self-hatred. It is either you fit in or fish out. You have to be so radical about yourself. You have lived 20, 25, 30 years alone. You can't abandon a vision for a person you have met for 2 years. You can't waste 25 years of building something and dreaming because of an emotion that began with a stranger who you're not very sure whether he will stay or she will stay. Time wasted is never recovered. Are we together? Yes. So make sure you have, and this is very personal. This is very personal. You must know where you are going. Sometimes I say, even the concept of having sex carelessly, it is not just a desire issue. It is a lack of vision issue. If you know that I'm going here, and this is what I want to achieve, there are things that will not have your attention. But the moment you are living for the sake of breathing, I tell you the truth, your door will be open for anyone that walks with 2 legs and looks like a man or a woman. I remember one day I was in backstage and this lady came. She wanted my number. It was groove tour. And I looked at her and I could tell she does not want the number. She wants the honor of the number. And at that moment, memories of my struggle days began to form in my mind. And I said, right now, people are celebrating me, but they don't know the days of my tears. And then the picture of the future began to be clear. So there are things that can terminate your big dream. So when the vision is big, some desires are reduced. But when you have no vision, some appetites become bigger than where you are going. Are we together? Right now I have a vision. I'm seeing great things ahead. So some things are already too small because of the big picture that I have. So let your vision be so big. Let it be in a level that only God can help you accomplish it. You don't need a sponsor. Neither do you need a rich man or rich woman. You just need God. That's how it ought to be so big in the level of God. Singlehood is also an amazing time for healing. Some of you are coming out from a serious breakup. Take time, be single, heal. And I tell you, if you dated for 4 years, you might need 4 years to heal. 1 year to delete everything. An year to delete that year. It's called cancellation principle. So you can't get out of a 5-year relationship and after 6 months, you are in a serious relationship. One of you is being fooled. And most of the times when you get in such relationships, you don't have healthy relationships. You pick matters from where you left the other. And many times there is a tendency of 2 victims meeting together. 2 patients. Some of you, whatever you are in is not a relationship. It's a ward. You have to remind each other, we are all sick. And so we are here because we connected from disease called heartbreak. And that thing will end up in tears after all of you are healed. Are we together? I've been there. I met a lady on Monday. On Friday I was bae. Easy come, easy go. Their relationship that look like they are fast forward. You even ask, when you're going to play hard to get, you know, things things just went too quickly, too rapidly. Until you are like, no. You know the process. There must be some labor. There must be some hunting. And so you need time to heal. You need time to break soul ties. Some of you, you know your past. If Facebook was to pop up where I used to pop up, you know your past. They call them the body counts. You know how many you've slept with. Right now I know you are a new man in Christ Jesus. And I know you love that scripture. It comforts you. But this is the time to disconnect, dissociate, break everything. Don't leave bridges hanging. They might show up in your marriage. One of the principles of success among the Germans, and why every territory they entered, they conquered. The Germans had a principle that once they reach on the seashore, they used to burn their vessels, the ship. They used to take their goods, their weapons, and burn the ship. And they had one mission: to conquer the land. Meaning that no matter how tough the land was, they had to conquer, because the vessel that was to take them back has already been destroyed. And some of us, we are proceeding in the land, and the engine of our vessel is still on. That is why you get in a relation 2 months, and your leg and your eyes are more focused on the rolling engine. Going back is easier than building something. Until you break soul ties, former relationships, there are people who survive, they have several. And so they don't commit to any, but they lack the attention. And sometimes this is the problem of staying single and you are old, because your radius of hunting increases. If you are 30, you can hunt from 22. You see, if you are 22, you can hunt from 18. Legally. But if you are 35, you have an advantage from 34 or even 37 going downwards all the way to 23. And that's where confusion comes. You become a senior bachelor. You now begin to do masters because you've done your bachelors for long. And sometimes you love the attention that people are giving you. Sometimes you like it, you entertain this one, she gives you attention, then you retreat. And you enjoy the attention, you are wicked. Now we are having a real conversation, right? And this is the problem, because if you don't heal, you might use people to massage your ego. Especially men. When a woman, you see, this is the psychology you need to get. Women don't take no. Women are trained to say no. But no woman is trained to hear no. That's why you can't leave a woman. I tell you, she will have her way back. The day you say, okay, wacha tuendelee, she'll tell you, ama tuachane tu. She has. She has to leave you. And that's why it breaks a woman twice when a man walks out and he means his word. It makes her ask herself, what is it that I don't have? Are we together? And so that woman might retreat and be so damaged, and she needs to heal. Just to know that she ended up in the wrong hands. And when a man has options, he becomes very bold. Are we together? Women, I'm helping you. When a man has options, he becomes very bold. He can face you straight in the eye and say, no. And when he has options also, he can do what I call reverse psychology. He will give you attention when he wants. But do you know women want attention when they want? And subconsciously, that's why women date bad boys. It's not because they don't know he's bad. It's only that she feels, I cannot control this guy. How? Because when a woman feels she's in control, she begins now to feel she's in love. I tell you, my wife, sometimes she just wants me to sit down and aguze tu kichwa yangu. And I always look at her face and I can see the smile of, I've just domesticated the lion. and I'm speaking into what I call very deep-rooted psychological things that you don't understand. You're in pursuit of a guy because He has never said yes, he has never said no, but he keeps you pending, and he meets you on his terms, and you feel like, I want you to meet me in my terms. And that thrill is very romantic. The moment that boy again becomes so accessible, hi, you feel, hi, so gonna take 5 minutes. And the same thing when a man is heartbroken, he does not date for love, he dates for ego. Ego means he has seen a beautiful woman, so he approaches and is like, hey, akiona anaingia box, anaanza kutoa box. Kwambia hata sikuwa serious, unajua. And then the saved ones will use the former, the original, and the most common phrase. Maze God aliniambia. Kwanza ni mpasu. We know your language. But deep down, you are not dating for love. And that's why you need to understand. And I'll come to the 5 questions you need to ask. When you deal with a wounded person, remember, you are not a specialist of cardiology. You are not a specialist of broken hearts. So when you meet a broken person, by the way, retreat. Otherwise, you might be a rebound. And once the guy heals, do you know what a rebound is? The waters are running very fast. And I found a tree ya kujishikilia. Once the waters stop and I'm back on my feet, I leave the tree and I continue with the journey. There are people, you are not in a relationship, wewe umeshikiliwa. Kukitulia, nitakuachilia na niendelee. So if a person comes broken, don't enjoy it. Do discipleship. Please. Just allow them to heal in the presence of El Elyon. Not in your presence. I'm speaking real things. Are we together? This is the time to also forgive yourself, because healing is very holistic. There are things you do and you discover this was foolish of me. You need to have self-meetings. Forgive yourself. The moment you go wounded in a relationship, you will take bitterness. You might go treating all men or women like your ex. They are different, please. So forgive yourself. Look at your life and look at your messes and accept, I messed up here, I missed the point, this is not the right thing, and I forgive myself. So singlehood is a very good time to heal. And there is a place I called intentional singlehood, where you say, for the next 2 years I am not dating. I need to work on me. It is intentional. So even if someone shows up, you're like, I need 2 years to breathe. There are things I have to fix in me, because if you get me right now, I tell you, it's not me. I'm so broken for anything. So I need to fix me first. I need to stand in a place where I'm proud of me. Number 7, discover and launch into purpose. Discover and launch into purpose. Now there's a difference between a vision. Vision could be connected to career. It could be connected to academics. It could be connected to business. But purpose is connected to God. Now, the mystery of marriage is that God does not think love. God thinks purpose. So the earlier you discover purpose, why am I here? What can I do? What is the anointing upon my life? And the purpose is what you were created to do. But a career is what you do. Sometimes even to support that which you're created to do. So I knew I was in the NGO world, but I knew I have a calling of ministry. So I had my businesses that I was doing at that time, but I knew my main call is ministry. So even as I was thinking a wife, I was not thinking in my NGO world. I was thinking in my ministry. Because I knew that there is a calling upon my life, and I need someone that can walk with me in my call. That's why you need to ask yourself, what is my purpose? You just love going to children's home. Imagine getting married to a person who hates children. That person, the joy of fulfilling purpose will be a snare. Imagine getting married. All of you are in the corporate world, but your greatest joy is every weekend you're visiting home, the widows, and just being a blessing to them. Those are your plots. Like niaje tunaenda na nyuki. Kuna children's home iko huko. It's amazing. And there's a level where the yoke becomes heavier, because you got connected to the wrong animal. You see, the concept of two cannot be equally yoked, it was a language of two species. You can't yoke an ox with a camel. One will bear the weight more. And in that species, it must also come with same strength, same ability, and same vision. If all of us are meant to plow, one cannot be going this side and the other one is going this side. You will mess up the assignment. And that's why purpose is very important. And that one again is another elimination method. Okay? Very simple. It's a very simple elimination method. And these are the things that begin to define the kind of man and the woman you are looking for. Live soap-operas. Live tall, dark, and handsome. Those ones, I tell you, today, God will give you raw materials to build the man you want. Or the woman. Sometimes even getting a very polished, finished product may not be so enthusiastic. What are you adding in that life? There are things you must add so that when I look at you, I'll say, for real, you don't know. This woman came or this man came and I've seen improvement. Are we together? So, number 8, cultivate a relationship with you. Personal relationship. Cultivate personal relationship. Some of you don't like their time. You have never spent time with you. You are busy in crowds. You can't even live alone. Where lazima ukaishwe. Kama yuko kwa sizumbigi, uko kwa auntie. You know, you've never had what we call me time. You hate your own audience. How will I love your audience if you yourself don't like your space? Have you ever sat just somewhere? Nothing, you're just quiet, you're just thinking about life, meditating about the future. You just have me time, not thinking about anyone, thinking about you. How you'll do your nails, your mascara, your hair. How you need to go for scrubbing. Hallelujah. Amen. Mwanaume Bwana asifiwe sana. Yeah. You know, you just have your own space. You're just thinking how you'll go somewhere. Itisha ile milkshake kubwa. Na yekwe strawberry. Na ujilipie. Before upeleke mtu hapo, where's uende? The Bible says you can never love your neighbor. In fact, it says love your neighbor as. Some of you don't have self-love. Whatever you have is personal hate. I've been there, sir. I used to buy a lady milkshake worth 350. Naenda nakula KDF na maziwa. Ya 50 bob. Na natumia 100 fare. Na nafikiria napendana. I tell you, you don't love yourself. And unaidisha maji moto kwa hoteli. Maji ya ndimu. Mtu ana devour half chicken in your presence. Na kabisa you are not fasting. No, my friend. That is not love. That is self-hate. You need to go to that area and first of all devour. And then now upelekane. Are we together? And that's why sometimes you can't give what you have. Sometimes you will survive on things because deep down you have nothing. So you think it's chocolates and rose flowers. Oh, unto you if you end up in a place like Nigeria, they have no flowers. Or in Garissa, there are no flowers, no fresh roses. There it is you and your heart. So, you cannot accommodate anyone if you cannot accommodate yourself. Self-love is very key. And no one will ever love you more than you love yourself. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. You have to love yourself. It's very key. Number 9, in singlehood, build genuine relationships. Not every girl is your wife. Before you enter into seclusion, make sure you have many friends of the opposite sex. I'm not saying you go and form a WhatsApp group. I'm excited the way these groups are here. You know, I grew up in a boys' school. And I went to boarding in class 4. Michinda boys boarding. St. Joseph Junior Seminary boarding boys. Then landed in campus. And then I met these girls who came from mixed schools. Na walikuwa wanacheza na maboy very openly. Me, the first lady who played with me, I became attached. Because I always just na mimi hivyo wewe. So by the time I was finishing 1 month in campus, nilikuwa nashinda kwani niko kwa market aje, you know. And these are just social ladies, you know. They have brothers. They just see you as another brother. But you, because of this seclusion, marrying urgently mentality, I need a wife now. Any hata Asha akikusalimia a smile, unajiuliza, Jehovah, is that a confirmation? So this is the time to have general friendship. And I tell you, it's very healthy. As a woman, you'll never know how men think by asking other women. That woman will just tell you about her ex. I tell you, women that have brothers, it's very hard to play them. They have heard from their brothers. They know. They've even seen how their brothers play other women. And so, for them, how they see men is different. And a brother who has grown in the presence of sisters also knows a few things. Now, all unto you if your home is boys' school or girls' school. And some of these general, they are very healthy. Are we together? I know some of these groups have broken a lot of what I call social rigidity. That you can just talk with a person of a different gender and discuss about how Manchester won yesterday 5 goals, you know. And she's like me, I'm not a fan of ball. No, Mambia, please stay there. Who spend the ball, sana? No, that's a punchline. Dreaming. Are you getting it? That you can just sit with someone and discuss about Uda versus Jubilee. There was this conversation going round, and BBI, there was a conversation going round of, just send to your girlfriend and ask her, what do you think about bottoms up? And you saw the feedback. Yes. And I tell you, it's just amazing to sit down and talk about issues, things about life. I don't know why when people see young people, they think partying, alcohol, and sex. It looks like we can't sit down and just have a conversation about life and things that build us. And we have been so much pushed in that space that we don't even associate healthy. So this is the time. Social fabric is key. When I was so heartbroken, the person who spoke to my heart was a lady. She's the one who spoke sense. And she shared a few things about a woman's psychology. And she helped me. And she told me, T, when you got boys, najua kia kwa friends on hivyo sasa. Yeah? Akaniambia when you got boys wangu, mimi nakurespect ka boys wangu. Na mimi nataka tu kuambia ukweli. Udem hata mkirudiana. There is the past is so messed up that you will need to know so much. I don't know what is. Ni mimi masikio inakuwa kidogo mani. Wacha nione. Okay. She told me the past is so messed up that even if you get together, you will try to bring the past and ask what happened in this past. She told me it's not healthy. She told me do this. The lady is not coming back. Accept it and move on. And she told me, I know you are in this space. You are wishful that this thing will come back. And she told me it's not. The earlier you move on, the better. And she began to give me signs. And akaniuliza, yo kuuliza hivi na yo fanya hivi na hivi. Kambia boss, move on. I'm a lady. I know what I'm saying. And she prepared me early and told me, I'm not saying this so that you think you can date me. Wewe ni mgonjwa, mimi ni mgonjwa. Mimi nakusaidia tu kwa ugonjwa ya. And I respected her. And I tell you, she became a platform that I could get wisdom and counsel. And guess what? I also began now to tell her how men think. Siku moja akuja akaniambia, "Mazee umeniokolea. Ile blanda ningefanya." Nikamgotea. So sometimes you just need someone who can be real, genuine, like a sister, and that's it. Bila kwanza kumpush kwa mavitu. Are we together? So let your circle be open. Build genuine friendships. Very genuine. And finally, number 10, one of the things about being single, it's time to explore. Ulizaliwa Limuru, ukalelewa Karenji, ukaenda St. Paul's University, saizi umefungua kabiashara Limuru. Na uliitwa kazi Kakamega ukakataa kwenda. Travel, go all over. Take this time. Right now, I don't have the privilege to travel. But I tell you right now, you get a job in Garissa. Ingia usikia watu usikiaje Garissa. Kuwait, ingia. Uone hata Warabu. Who told you your husband is here or your wife? Maybe God anakuishia international league. Wewe bado uko loko, FC Gor Mahia. Na unafaa kujoin UEFA. Bwana asifiwe. You are not limited. This thing of looking like you are planted in one area, no. In my singlehood, I used to live in Kisumu. There's a time I worked in Kisii, and I used also to work in Eldoret. I traveled a lot in my singlehood. It was time to explore. In fact, waliangalianga watu wa kupromote. Mimi ndo nilitumwa Kisumu the farthest, because all the others were almost getting married or they were married. So separating them from family. So mimi tu nika kuingia pale kununua mattress na mosquito net. Maisha na kujua ile kibandaski kwa si ndivyo? Kujua tu madha fulani upika machapo hapo. Bas, maisha inaendelea. So, guys, mimi sijui nani aliwaambia huku ni Alpha Omega, Limuru or where you live. Some of you need to begin to get visas, get passports. Amen. At least one day ukikaa kwa dinner table, unaweza toa story. Mwambie mtoto wako, you know, like the time I was in Australia for 2 years. See, stories are, the time I was in Keno. Are we together? So are you seeing there is such a blessing in being single? It's not a curse. I don't know who said that once you join FORT, it's like we are preparing you to get married. No. There is a lot you can do with this space. There is a lot. Let them muskwe pressure. Marriage is not a career. That if you don't have one, you'll not pay rent. But again, there is a place you enter and you begin to desire. And you sense in your heart, I need to settle. And the grace comes with the desire. It's not just a desire. Tulikuwa harusi ya Rashid. Na alikuwa beste yako unaanza kufeel, ni kama bro wangu watu wamemari. There are people who married out of pressure. So it's not about, listen, everyone in this life, you have your lane. I'll tell you the truth. It's better marrying late than marrying wrong. It's better. It's better a broken relationship than a broken marriage. We have to be real as early as now. It is better. So there is no pressure. You are lane. I got married when I was 32. Turning 33. And today I'll be real with you. My wife is older than me with 1 month. Okay, now that's a silence. So that tells you we were age mates. But ushaifika place in life unafeel hauna time ya mchezo. Unafeel sasa if you're getting someone hakuna story ya kunywa kahawa mob. If you know where you are going and I know where I'm going, it becomes very simple. Because, you know, sometimes you did a chemistry paper, 25 questions in 2 hours. Swali moja ya kuuliza, tuko ama tuyuko? Does it need 1 month? Paper ya chem will take 2 hours. Iya tuko ama tuyuko? Doesn't need time. So there's an age you reach, and even personally you sense, hata wewe mwenyewe umemature. Tumichezo tu azjui, anakaje, tulisha. Are we together? But again, you still have your non-negotiables, like values. So that's how we got married. I'm turning 36 tomorrow. So I'm officially leaving the 35 behind. So officially naanza kuingia level ya elders. And I can tell you, if I was to marry at 25, I think that marriage will not be there. I was not as mature as I was when I was 32. Nilikuwa na hata even there is one of the exes nilimpigianga kumwomba msamaha. Nikamwambia yenye yake pole. Nilikuwa na utoto. Ai. Naangalianga zile vitu nilifanya hiyo time. Yenyewe nilikuwa na utoto. And you know, we laughed. And akaniambia, by the way, we were too young, foolish, not knowing where we are going. But you see, emotions don't understand you are foolish. Heartbreak haikuwa na ujinga. Heartbreak ilikuwa serious. Sisi ndo tulikuwa na ujinga. And I prayed for her. I told her, mimi nilioa, I pray that you get a good man. Because at least I know you are not my wife. And I have to accept it. Now, so what am I saying? For me, I'll say, this thing about age, if you've not struck 35, isikusumbue. Hata kama umefika 35, still kuna jamaa fulani ameanza kujigundua akiwa hapo. Alipiga mahepi huko, nini, pia wewe ulipiga mahepi huko. Saizi ndio sasa. So, and God is very fair, by the way. Sometimes God will give you a duplicate of just who you are. We sit down with my wife, nampe stories zangu za dunda, ananiambia wewe hata ujui. Maga tukidrive West ananiuliza, unajua kulikuwa na club fulani hapa? Namwambia hai. Hapa. Mimi nafikiria mimi ndo nilikuwa jogoo huko, MCA chairman. And it is amazing because again, there's a problem when sometimes you can, you know, okay, I will say this. If you've never tasted some life, you will never understand why people are there. You know, unajinango, oh jama. There is a lady who got married to a guy who was now getting out of alcoholism, smoking and all that. He was still struggling. For her, she was Sunday school church, hey, Volt, CU leader, chairman wa youth. You know, Uchali alikuwa chairman. Unajua kuna chairman mara mbili. Ile side nyingine alikuwa chairman, governor. So alikuwa anashindwa, okay, hii gauge si uache tu. Anaambia kuna kakiu kana kuanga. Unapita hivi unasikia kakitu kamefufuka. Ya haelewi. So amempeleka kama deliverance. Boy anamwambia si deliverance. I just need an environment where I can be encouraged na nitaacha. Nimeacha vitu mingi. Are you getting me? So sometimes God is the best matchmaker. God anajua raundi zako na anajua raundi zako. So that tells me if you are here and you are walking in purity, God in his system, he's not a robber. Are we together? If you are here and you are enjoying a second chance, God will give you another one of a second chance. Hallelujah. And I tell you, it will be amazing. So this is the time to explore. Take, oh Jesus, you have nothing to lose. Bedsitter, you have nothing to lose. Sasa ukienda sana labda ka one bedroom na room moja imejaa viatu, si ndio? Juu hata vitu za nyumba hazikusaidii sahi. Ni TV kubwa ya kuonanga Netflix. You know, the things that you value. So, take time. There are many things in the world, many opportunities. Sometimes I wish I would have done very well for me to do my masters abroad. Some friends were sponsored to go to Iceland. You know, explore the globe. The globe is our place of transaction. So by the time you come and you settle, you can really look and say, I utilized my singlehood in the right way. Many people right now are utilizing their singlehood in drugs, sponsors, happy. It's wastage. Everything you do in this time will begin to reflect in a time to come. Are you getting me? So that's very important. So let's come to courtship. Let's come to courtship. And I have, courtship is that period when you accept and you say we're in a relationship. So it's the period when the relationship became official to marriage. So that tells you courtship is a relationship that has a focus of marriage. There is general dating whereby you just want to know each other. And then there's a place you reach and say, we can take this thing to the next level. You've ever heard that language? That next level now, the day you say sour, you've begun courtship. Are we together? Now, what you need to understand, marriage does not begin during the wedding. Especially when your courtship matures into a wedding, your marriage will begin from your courtship. Allow me to explain. So during courtship, the things you are fighting about, the insecurities of Karo and Jemo, they will still be transferred into marriage if they are not dealt with. Are we together? So marriages don't go wrong. The red flags you saw in courtship, some of them will manifest as realities in. So marriage is the legal permission to now live together and go beyond courtship and now begin to be partners. So if there was a problem in your courtship, be rest assured, marriage is not a deliverance service where you bring a wicked man or a wicked woman, put them in a white suit or a white gown, and then you expect a powerful pastor to change them. It does not happen. You bring a womanizer, we will just give you permission to live with the womanizer. You bring a woman who's a player, we just give you permission to live with her. And you cannot change anyone. If your name is not Jesus, you can't change anyone's behavior. The only thing that changes in marriage is our waistline. Na sometimes tunafanana. Your waistline will change the day you become pregnant. My waistline will change because I'm well fed and I'm relaxed. Otherwise, character, habit, it takes the intervention of God. So don't think you are Jesus. Don't think you can drag someone and change them. And that's why when you go healed and very sober, you will detect things very early. On the flip side, no one is perfect. Okay? If you're looking for a perfect man, please wait for rapture. We will receive glorified bodies. That's the day we'll see perfect men. But again, never lower your value guard. You need to have values and say, these are non-negotiables. Simple, genuine, integrity. A person that keeps their word. Wachana fashion na kutesa. Values should not be compromised. The moment your values become an audit center. If today you say, I can't deal with a liar, and you send someone is a perpetual liar, run. Because you either bend your values to accommodate a liar, or you stick to your values and end up getting what your values communicate. Am I making sense? So for me, it is values, then other things. Mambo ya color, beauty, those ones, sidebands, mambo beards, beard gang, those ones are, unaona vile hiyo keki imekuja, imewekwa to popcorns, uto ni tuwa kurembesha. Otherwise, people have focused on the icing and they have compromised on the baking. So the quality of what they get is so pathetic. And deep down, they could tell they saw the red flags. So courtship is a very good place. And remember this. Before you go public on Facebook, please, first of all, know each other. Si mujuane Monday, Wednesday status imechange in a relationship, Friday to picture, and then Sunday mmekuja meambia pasi, hii mwaka hii nolisema ni restoration. Mi yangu ilikuwa establishment. Ata mama ndio huyu. And then after 2 months, unaanza kudiscover this is not the guy. And then now you begin to date on the platform of what will people say. Boss, you don't marry because of people. And I tell you, if you come and tell me we were in this courtship and it broke, I will bless both of you. I'll just give you wisdom to break as a believer. And one of them is to forgive each other. Are we together? So that now, you don't stand on the altar because of what will people say. You stand on the altar because God has affirmed this thing. So before you make it public, I dated my wife for more than 6 months. No one even knew. Even my closest of pastors, nobody. It's only my young sister. I was very keen Some of us, you get someone, mwezi ya tatu mwapeleka home. Even your mom alizoea. No, okay. Asikia karibu kijana, usikie kwa nyumbani Wewe tosheka, nilizoea. So take time, okay? This one I'll tell you, some of these things have to be chini ya maji so that you get to know the person for yourself before you hear other people's opinion. Otherwise, all of us have opinions. And in that time of chini ya maji, make sure you ask these 5 questions. These are mandatory. Whether you are the one dating or being dated. Question number 1, who are you? Who are you? That is the question of identity and personality. Who are you? Because if a person does not know who they are, then ideally they have the ability to become who they are not. Any description outside there will suit them. So let them. And who are you is not what do you do. That's a different. It's not your career. So who are you? Identity. What keeps you in life? What are your values? What is your focus? In this life, are you just breathing and living? Do you have a sense of purpose? That question has to be asked. And you don't listen to it with your heart. You listen to it with your ears. In courtship, allow your heart to follow your head, not your head to follow your heart. That's the wrong order. You go with your mind. You analyze. You're in a lab. You take all the data because your decision should be informed. Are we together? So the first one is, who are you? Identity. When a man walks with a wrong identity, that's a dangerous person. That person can be manipulated. That person can become anything because no one told them who they are. And identity, you discover it by self. And there are people who have false identities. They are good worshippers, but they have anger issues. So worship is what they do, but the real them, they have anger issue, they are impatient, they are bitter. So you need to go beyond what a person does. Are we together? Titles are not important. Identity is important. Because even the language of purpose, the language of destiny, is connected to identity. You can't become who God wants you to be until you know who you are. Moses had to come to a place and know that I'm a deliverer. And after that, that's when God partnered with him. Number 2 is the question of whom are you? Whom are you? His relationship with God. Genuine relationship. Genuine relationship. Accountability. Does he have a spiritual father? You know, many people tell you, me, I'm spiritual, but I believe faith is personal. Run. Because even witches are spiritual. Are we together? Whom are, and this one I'm saying they are not, because you reach a place, and I tell you, carrying the spiritual burden of a family is a little bit hard. I know men that give offering to their wife and children, but they never go to church. And you come to church and the preaching was powerful and you wish, I wish so-and-so was here. He didn't hear it. So it's like you are the only one who's changing. But the one that needs to hear that message never had it. One of the most romantic and memorable things you'll have in your life is holding hands with your husband or wife and praying together in church. It is one of the most powerful things that can happen to a couple. Are you getting me? So the question of whom are you? I can say a lot on this. Because knowing God aligns so many things in a person's life. There are things that no psychiatrist can change. It just takes the knowledge of God. And knowing God for yourself. It aligns many things. It aligns many things. There are things we can do, we can pray for you, but we can never serve God and worship God for you. So this is very personal. And I know sometimes the biological clock ticks. I know sometimes the pressure comes in. Sometimes you get heartbroken in the house of God and you feel it's better even these drunkards outside here. And I'm not saying they are amazing husbands who are drunkards, by the way. Because when you begin to deal with marriage, you discover it is governed by wisdom and maturity. You can have a man speaking in tongues, but he's a child. You can't reason out. Everything is the devil. And he becomes very boring. He doesn't want to accept anything. And you can have a lady also who prophesies and think you're a useless man because you've never had a vision. And who wants to compare you with the pastor? Everything he says is, when a pastor mnakuanga compare divi. And you begin to feel, sungeoa huyo pastor. Anyway, I know some of the things that hurt Christian marriages. And I came to a place whereby I decided to date a lady who was not born again. Jesus. I tell you, she was good. But good is not godly. Very focused. Career ladder. Visionary. Values. Top notch. She will even tell me, ukitoka kesha nipitie Westi. Genuine. Mi naenda kukunywa. And she told me, mimi uskai nitoa kwa Jack Daniels. Na mi sitai kutoa kwa JC. So kulikuwa na JD na JC. Are you getting it? Na akasema mi siku ile nita change, let me change on my own. Na akasema I will not even change to make you happy. And you can see the genuineness. Sasa umetoka kuplayiwa na mtu wa church. So unaona mtu wa dunia na anakuambia ako dunda, unamtoa dunda, unampeleka home, unaona ameenda home. Hi. And something told me atairi huyu. So one day I went to a mission. The fire fell. Was supposed to have a lunch date. The Holy Ghost moved in a Queen's voice. Up to date, I still receive testimonies of that day. And I got late. I left the meeting at 8. So I called her. I said, hey, Maze, Paul, I'm late. Nini. And she was in a club drinking. Si amekasirika. Kila mtu anaendeanga ile tunamcomfort. Akaniambia, me, by the way, wewe fika town tuongee. So nikakuta amekunywa vizuri. Nikamwambia, by the way, the meeting was powerful. The presence of God just fell. And she told me, by the way, don't give me that crap. You would have told me we are not doing this lunch. Why tell me you have wasted my time? Nini. Kitu ikaniambia, boss, that crap is your life. Nikajua, you may have everything, but this crap, quote unquote, this is the most important thing. Because all my life, this is what I do. So do you know, my wife knows. Friday, anajuanga, mse anaingianga huku saa 8. Ata kuna time ananulizanga, Holy Ghost alishuka. Now you can imagine if I got married to that one. Yeah? Every night ingekuwa, it's a very crappy night. You don't control the spirit. Even today, my wife maybe is watching. Na anaweza niuliza, hey, it was powerful. Mimi ndangu anajua utakuja huku 10. Nilikuwa naona kanaweza shuka. She knows that this is my life. And what a joy. Are you getting me? So there are those small things that begin to tell you where I can't compromise. Up to number 8 tick. E9 na 10. Wacha tu nikuwe patient na Mungu. You'll get someone who has 9 out of 10 on value radar. You compromise there. Here. That one will cost you. So it is whom are you? It's good. And that's why now we're encouraging even some of you. Let us know that you're a member of a church. Is that okay? So that you can say, Mimi niwa Life Church. There's a day a bishop called me. Akiniuliza kuhusu a guy I used to mentor in town. Akaniuliza, do you know this man? He's interested in one of my daughters. So I had to tetea the guy. Nikasema, I'll take this formula. Kujo na mena date nani anakuanga PCA ni worship leader nini. Pigia, hello sir. This is Pastor T. Ushainisikia? Nimesikia. Wewe ni nani? Unafanya kazi. Pastor. You don't know what he asked? Are you the pastor? How long has he been born again? What is his work like? What is your recommendation? I said, hey, tunafaa kuingia your level. Some of you don't know if you knew. Tutajuana. Amen. Aba mkiniambia happy birthday dad, nitakuwa na kujua kiroho na externally. Some of the people you need to bring them to us. Ukifikiria ni yako unamwambia leta, tuna Google kwa spirit, tunakwambia the Holy Ghost said run. Because with your eyes you may not see. Are we together? Yes, my spiritual father, when I told him I want to get married, he told me, who is she? Can I see her? Akamwona, akamwangalia, akaniambia, give me 2 weeks. Hey! So guess what? 2 weeks is Elijah. Hakuniongelesha. So after 3 weeks imeisha, nikaanza kumwambia, hi dad. Because I could not proceed. Because he told me this is a serious matter, I could not proceed. So I went there to go to his office and ask him, is there a problem with network in the spirit? I said, no, I didn't tell you. You have my blessing. Yeah. After he gave me the blessing, that's when I went to my parents. I didn't tell him, kuna mtu nimeona na tushaenda home. I asked him, do you think she's the one? So they did the Googling. So some of you need people who can Google in the spirit. And genuinely, are we together? And tell you this one, upper shikilia. Some people don't look like it now, but it's a matter of time. You'll be surprised. The other one is, I need to begin to learn this vessel. The other question that you need to ask very passionately, and this one is a serious one, is where are you from? Where are you from? This is not about location. It's about what's your past like. In this, where are you from? You need to interrogate what are your former relationships? Who are your exes? Why did you break up with them? Otherwise, you might be inheriting a problem. Hello? When we began church, I remember there's a time, when you begin a new church, many people come. Others come from other ministries. And others are very genuine. They are there because they want to grow. But there are some who rebelled in another ministry. And then they come. And the first thing, they begin to criticize where they came from. Are you getting it? And you hear they are saying nothing good about that man of God. And you know you have inherited a problem. If the man or the woman comes and all her exes are devils, you have to listen with 2 ears. Wewe hakuna pahali ushaikuwa na kamakosa. Wewe ni angel Gabriel. Wewe tu unapatananga na Lucifer. I don't know, even in natural setting, have you ever met someone who everyone hates them? And you're like, how bad are you? Okay, how bad are these people? Everyone, you mean out of 5, kila mtu. Your mother hates you, your auntie, your brother, kwani, you have to audit well. Don't give sympathy. That's a red flag. Otherwise, you might join that bandwagon. Maybe ni manipulative, ni controlling. Because there are people, if it's not their way, it's the highway. Okay. So you have to know, what are your former relationships? There's a time I took my wife to Cold Stone. You know Cold Stone? Hiyo utajua. Inauzanga ice cream baridi. Nikamnunulia 1 liter. Na nikaeka 1 liter hapo. And we discussed hot matters. Alikuwa anauliza swali na ice cream. Unakula ice cream hata usikii baridi? A minute. And I tell you, in our relationship, that was the most amazing interrogative meeting we ever had. And we didn't wait for 8 months. The moment we knew we want to be an item, the second week we had this conversation. And I'll tell you why. Sometimes you have portrayed this very holier than thou image, and then it is 8 months and you're like, hey, mazeni kimshu. Sintakuwa na choma mazee na vile anaonanga nika mimi na Angel Gabriel na Virgin Mary tuko hivi. So it's very key, so that as early as possible you are able to share what we call bonds in the closet. Are we together? This is what I said. I said I wouldn't want my wife to hear my stories from a stranger. Mambia, by the way, My name is Pastor T. Huyo ni yule anakuanga kwa pulpit. Now, meet Anthony. Nilimwanzia kutoka nursery as far as I could remember. Nikampeleka Kajani. Hey, we discussed many things. I felt my life was on that table. Things even my own mother does not know. Because I knew this one, I will be entrusting my life with her for eternity. And I said it will be so bad. Yeah, actually meet Pasi. Apatane na msetu tulikuwa naye kampo. Amwambie, unajua huyu boy ni nani wewe? Zile pombe tumekunywa na umza wewe. Mana 2000 hapo tu mpaka 2012 hapo. KBL hapo tulikuwa shareholders. Hata tungekufa mazishi ingekuwa sponsored na EABL. We have lost a serious client. So I opened my life, and I tell you, at that time she also shared everything. And at that moment it was, take it or leave it. This is me. And I'm not sharing so that you can have things to fight me in the future. I'm sharing because I'm not happy of it. Life has happened. The 31 years that I was alone, many things have happened. And I shared past relationships. I shared everything. This is the time. If you have a child, share. Are we together? See dhambi? See, kuna wewe ulikuwa na past. Si ndio? See, that's in your past. Sasa maybe katoto kanakuanga kishaki na mother. Wewe huku tunaonanga uko fiti. Then one day to Edo, unasikia nikwambia kitu na usijam. Ni promise hautajam. Tell your neighbor, be proud of every scar. Are we together? Because sometimes you hide things, and sometimes they are known, and the next question becomes, what else don't I know? Are we together? Kuna kitu niko tempted kuambia lakini adi where are you from? This is very key, okay? This is very key. When I was meeting my wife, there's a lady who had claimed that she has my child. And the case was so bad, but I told my wife. Are we together? I told her, by the way, this is me. There's this claim. Of course, a few things happened. The reason why I didn't want to tell you is because it's an ongoing, it's a case that never ended, but it's gonna end soon. Are we together? Now you know I say discipleship is you. Open your scars. And so before I got married, I told her, by the way, there's this claim. And whatever happened at that time, it happened in a phase that I was in a heartbreak. So what I did, it was not even dating. It's the way you are so hurting and you feel like you want to revenge. And in that vengeance, you fall in sin. And then by the time you're coming back, someone comes and says, this happened and this is your child. Now you see how Noma's going to kuambia. So, okay, the whole thing is, this should not change how you view me or anything. But I think I'm this one guy who will never try to look this perfect, knowing that these are scars of things we went through. Was it easy to tell her? No, it was a claim. DNA was done. I'm not the father. But the claim still continued to a point where by now it became a court case. Are you getting it? So mukiona kwa magazeti sasa silimwambia. But God is fighting for us. Are we together? But this is what I said, by the way, and I told my wife, if this is my child, if I'm going to marry you, we have to take care of her, of him. If this is not, then I'm not involved. And this was my stand. if it will affect my faith for doing the right thing, I rather do the right thing than look perfect outside. Changing lives of men and your very own is dying. Are you getting it? So, and I know we live in a time where it's very critical. So I was very open. Now that's what I'm telling you, we took Cold Stone. Because we had to share. She also had a part of the story and she shared. And I made a decision. I said, I know who you are and I know where you come from. You know who I am. You know where I come from. And this is it. And I tell you, these things will come. Jesus. Staying for 30 years alone, many messes happen, many things happen. It's not that I'm happy about them, but I was in that level of saying, get to know who I am. Before I became a preacher, I had a life. And this life was not a life I celebrate. This is exactly how it was. Sasa naona mnaniangalia na huruma. Watu wa Mungu, we don't preach from perfection. Some of us mkiona vile tunaomba is because we know the grace of God. Are we together? We know that if God was not by our side, we will be dead. The second thing you need to get is family patterns. Who are your people? Iniquity, patterns, curses. Begin to interrogate. Why? You will get connected to that family, willingly or unwillingly. And this is what now begins to give, what do I call it? This is what begins to give life. And it begins to give, how do I explain it? It gives life and it gives purpose to your marriage. When you know you come from a polygamous home, you already know there is a spirit of polygamy. When you know you come from a home where witchcraft has thrived, you know there are altars you are dealing with. And this is not about her or him. Now this will be about the two of you. This is what begins to give purpose of even the wedding theme and wedding colors. That you know, all of us come from backgrounds. He didn't choose, I didn't choose, and so, am I losing members? And so, and so you begin to get, okay, we'll be finishing in a few. You begin to get that this is the place. Am I speaking to anyone? So that you know what to pray for, what to pray against. There are things you look even and you discover, hey, in this house, all women are widowed. If you marry there, I tell you, you have to pray that that pattern will be cut so that you will not die before your time. This is now the spiritual interrogation, family. There's also the question of spirituality. Spirituality. What is your walk? How is your walk? What are your encounters? Some of us have even gone to witches. So how deep have you been in these spiritual matters? The things you've done. There's also the place of finances. Jesus. Unaweza marry mtu usituke akona deni ya fuliza. Bona tumiango wedding contribution ikisetlingi fuliza. Bona sipe sana. And this is real because the day you get married, one of the things is that the loans will become yours. So you need to understand the personal background financially. Are we together? This is not to look at how much he has or anything. It's just to see, because someone could be in debt. Na amekuangalia hivi akona, you are like a way out. And so hesabu zake ni vile atatoka kwa de. We've heard about our sisters being married to some Nigerian brothers who all they think is how they will survive in Kenya. And can I be real with you? The Nigerian government is very lenient on their own because they send money back home. You saw one of them being deported, Chinedu. And he said, I'm a prince in my land. And he was on very serious felony of drugs. And when he landed, nothing happened to him. Because for them, they see their people in our nation or other nations as economic wellness. When you work in Kenya, you send money to your people. So a lot of money goes there. So a Nigerian brother does, and I'm not saying Nigerians are bad, don't get me wrong. Even one of the guy in the highest office, the daughter is married to one. Are we together? But there are some of them who are crooks. And we must be real. Watu wa Githurai nazima man, si munajua? Yeah. I know ladies who've lost money. They come, they go to your home. You never know where they live. They are always in a brotherhood. They are always dressing well. They begin to tell you, no, I don't have anyone to put my money. They get your account and they become over romantic. You look at your Kenyan brothers, I don't know, these guys, their voice, their tone is very intimidating. Ogama, sister, you look beautiful now. Look at you now, and here a Kenyan brother is telling you, I'm still in the race like Paul Mwai. You know, and you're like, Jesus. And I'm not saying all of them are bad. Don't get me wrong. Are we together? We can't profile a community. But I'm just saying we've had instances and cases, some that are very, so that you need to know, finances. How do you make your money? Yes, you have all this. You're driving a V8 at 25. Who does that? You could find yourself in a serious, syndicate. No one's going to be a pasi. Ujamani big fish. Tumombea okoke. Taifi yake. Umeomoka. Nuna deal na mtu wa wash. Even as a lady, we must ask. You don't go to job. Lakini ile luku napiga. Ataziwenya tunaenda job atupigi. So tuambie siri ya urembo. Na pale unaishi hakuna mtu anajua. Lakini tunasikia maprado ndio zinabishananga hapo kwa paki. Kukua chacha mwezi ni enjoy. Kuna socialite alisemanga, me I'm very spiritual, even I told my pastor. Nikasema okay. Nikasema ni vizuri yako na pastor, lakini hiyo tithe siwezi kula. Hiyo si mzuri. Yote unanunuanga kuku unakata na fork inaruka. Mungu anakuambia this is not holy dealings. Unaenda kuweka chumvi na mwagika yote. Mungu anakuambia hiyo tithe wachana nayo. It is not holy. Are we together? There's also past events. When you're dealing with a person, get to know their past events. Past events. There's a lady who got married, and during her honeymoon, she walked out. And walked out permanently. Because she was a victim of rape. So when they got in that room, the former images came back. And a rage came back. And she abandoned that marriage. It's good to get to know where people are coming from. Are we together? If someone was raped when they were young, there are few things they are dealing with. If someone grew and was raised by a single mother, or raised by a stepmother who was abusive, or was raised by an abusive father. Some fathers are stepfathers who all their life they wanted to sleep with you. That person has security issues. So this is real baggage. That's why you need to know past events, both good and bad, because some of them are very memorable. And you need to celebrate them. Maybe a memorial of his father. That's an event that is very dear. And guess what? If you look like you're so concerned with that person, and you're like, a night before you send a message and say, hi dear, I know tomorrow is dad's memorial, what are you planning? That guy will feel, or the girl will feel, wow, no one cares to this level. See, unaona ameweka dad, we still miss you. Unamwambia likewise. Yeah. So it's very key, because events are personal. Are you getting me? Events, some are scary, some will need you. And I'm telling you, some of these things is where now, especially when you're talking about where are you from, also the question of that background. Like when I married my wife came a little bit from a broken home. So I knew I'm going to be a husband and also be a father and become a friend. 3 things. So was it her fault? No. How did I discover? My wife will cook food and serve me all the fresh food, and she will go to the fridge and take a buffet. And I was like, why are we not taking this fresh? Then I began now to interrogate the background. And I was like, this is something in the background. So I had to be her friend and to be her husband. And to tell her, no, we are eating this one. Because even in some homes, you grew like you're a nobody. And now here you are married and you treat yourself like a nobody. And the other person must be so sure. You are raised by a single mother. You never saw your mother receive orders from a man. And here is a man saying, shati yangu ijapigwa pasi, and you're like, hey boss, mimi hata mamangu hajainiambia hivyo. Na huyu jamaa ako zile, yeye amegrow akiona mother akifanya vitu zingine na na feel ni common sense. So this lady is an iron lady. Are we together? And that's why when you date, get these details, because they will help you. You are not marrying someone that is complete. So these things will help you understand. Some of them grew from an abusive father. You marry a man who saw his father abuse the mother, calling them names. Some Kikuyu names are very bad. You know those names? You know those names? You can't even call your mom that name. And this guy, you sense he's arrogant. Hata vile amekaa. Hakuna siku ashai kuita babe. You know, there's a man of God who was dating. Alafu, the girl came and called him in public. Babe, kwambia, mimi usikai niita hivyo. Mimi naita kwa Johana, mimi. I want to assure you, he's still single up to date. But again, we discovered background, he was radical. For him, I think he was an orphan. So he didn't see anything. He was marrying because people marry, and he was under pressure. So all these things he didn't understand. So tell your neighbor, this background is very key. Tell that neighbor, interrogate. Because that person is unique. Are we together? Some of you, you'll have to be the mother and the wife. This guy grew without a mother. You will mother the guy and become a wife. Some of you, wewe ni firstborn ama lastborn. Una deal na boy kwao kwote ni madame, na yeye ndio lastborn. Hajui hata kuosha kijiko. Aligrow akitango kababa. Na wewe ni firstborn kwenyu, responsibilities ilianza after form 4. Huyu kababa ako job na bado anaishi kwa mother. And in every step 5 words lazima aongee kuhusu mom. Unasikia kumwambia, hey dude, grow up. Lakini kakiduka anakuambia huni la. Ama mshikane ma last born wawili. Wewe una imagine hiyo? Ile kuchoka iko kwa hiyo nyumba. Akiosha kijiko. So am I speaking? They may look very obvious, but I know it's helping someone. Are we together? It's very key. Like for me, my wife is a firstborn, and all the others that follow are boys. And they obey her, and they used to obey her. So their first days in our marriage, I used to tell my wife, I'm your husband. Because she would wake up and organize the house. Wewe unafanya hii na hii na hii na hii na hii, mimi nitafanya hii na hii na hii na hii, alafu ni sawa. Then she will come and supervise. Aufanye vile nilikuambia. Ina namwambia aya. Bwana asifiwe sana. Unajua hapo kuna karoho kanaweza anza kufufuka. Kanaanza kukuambia nazini kudharauliwa. Zile honi tulipiga kwao. So and we had to agree. So anytime alikuwa ananipanga hivyo namwambia sawa babes. Akumbuka ya by then nimeolewa. And I also had my weaknesses. Are we together? So so as we're living together, I knew where she was coming from, and there were boys behind her. Me, I grew in a boys' school. So me mambo ya kuappreciate tujui na kapoa, si hatujui. Boy tunaambia mzee, buda umedunga. Ai, ni ngumu. Naangalia na mzee namwambia, hiyo kiatu ni mbaya. So my wife will go, ametoka ananiuliza how do I look? Mimi namwangalia namwambia, si ni vile tu uko na kajana, kuna kitu ime hapa. Namwambia, hauja notice nime make nywele. Namwambia, hii ndio uliona kwa hizo zote. And she's like, you don't talk to women like that. Namwambia lakini si ukweli, hii forehead imetokea sana. Nini. Anyway inakaa poa, na naendelea coach movie. Then unastukia umekasirikiwa 2 weeks, unashindwa kwa nini nimefanya? Si nilisema vile na feel kwa roho yangu. So nikamwambia babes, mimi nimegrow ya boy school. Sisi mambo ya kukanika sijui mushi we didn't have. So slowly I'm learning. Watu wa boys kula huu. Jehovah. So let's begin to finish. You also need to interrogate what I call crime records in those files. Are we together? Unaweza marry mtu wa ex committee. Usikia anafuatangwa na ma-CID. Wewe hujui ni nani ulioa. So it's good also to check on crime records, who are you and all that. I have two, then we finish. Yeah. Two. Sawa. Where are you going? This is the language of vision, purpose, and destiny. And in this, where are you going? Can we have another sitting maybe next time? Because I can't finish all I have. You'll organize it next month. In this, be aware of a person that is in fantasy. Fantasy. Mtu anaanza kukuambia one day mimi nitabuy KICC. Na hiyo conversation mnaihave kwa kibanda. That's fantasy. Be aware of someone who forever lives in hope. All his things are in the future. Siku moja mnakuja chacha na una magari unasikia hii ndo nitabuy, hii hapa hii ndo nitanunua. Hopeful. Be careful of a person who all his life is wishful. Basi ningepata mita. Nikaekelea 50 bob betika tu nitoke na hiyo mita 10. Tumeomoka. MCA tu akaniona hivi anipatie hiyo basari. Wishful. And I tell you, there are people who you've stayed with them for long and you are living in a wishful status. Be sensitive for a person who is faithful. When I mean faithful, is a person all his conversations are full of faith, no action. Faith is not bad, but there is a level of foolish faith. Hakuna vile utalala kwa nyumba unawatchingi Netflix na ma-series. Alafu naambia wife, mimi ile faith niko nayo. Mita zitanipata hapa. Bible inasema wealth ya wicked inakujanga hapa. Wewe ngoja. Run. There are many people suffering because of faith that is not biblical. Are you getting it? Be careful of a person again who is too careful. Life is about risks. Too careful. Be careful. These 5 people are very key. Fantasy, hopeful, wishful, faithful, and too careful. Faithful here is a person who is in an unrealistic faith that is not biblical. Have you ever met them? Watu wakupossess kila kitu. Yeah? Because there are people today, 5 years down the line in marriage, nothing has ever changed, but the man still has big talk. Na kukriticize kila mtu. Prado ya white si poa. White na matope ya Limuru. Prado ya white si poa. Nakwambia Prado poa. Prado kwanza TXZ ya black, alafu unaipiga marims za silver. Hakuna gari poa kayo. Lakini babes nakwambia, mimi hata Prado siwezi buy. Range Rover 2019 model, ona. Hii ndio God anatupea. Na mko bed sitter. Huyo ni mtu unafaa kumuita nyuma ya tent. Mwambie boss, wachana na range. Wachana na Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Finally, the final question you need to ask is, what can you do? What are your abilities? What are your talents? What are your hobbies? What can you do? What are your abilities? What are your talents? What are your hobbies? Are we together? Yes. It's good to know. Usionange mtu anasoma books, unaona kama ni boring. Maybe that's what he loves doing. He's just an enthusiast. Unaonanga tu mtu anapenda nature. Abilities. So this will be among the last questions. Are we together? Are we together? And the other thing I forgot is, the moment you get close to your marriage, or even this time of dating, we are seeing many things happening today, and we are raising a very sick generation. It's always key to have a conversation on what are some of your sexual fantasies. But hiyo ni wakati umejua. And you don't have that conversation to have sex. Are you getting me? That one you ask around 2 weeks to your wedding. Because there is a lady who dated a gay guy. And the lady was very happy. This is a gentleman. The guy never hugged him. Ilikuanga na salamu za kanisa. Alikuwa hai. Oh, Charlie. And then the guy used to hang around to handsome boys. And you know, as a lady, you are comfortable when your man is with some young man, and it was like his mentorship. And it was like, wow. The day they got married, the lady found some men in that house. And the guy said, I've always wanted to have a sexual orgy in my wedding. Now, umetoka kanisa, una discover ulimari gay. So, bonus sana. I know some of these things we don't like talking them in church. And please, listen to me with 2 ears. I'm not saying you begin to ask this question on day 3 and then open a conversation of sexuality. I'm just saying the moment you know this thing is serious, it's good to sit that person down and ask them. Otherwise, you might be marrying a pervert. Some people have been watching pornography from class 4. They are perverts. Hello? Now, unauliza na kaukali. Are we together? Yes. And you put your demands very clear and say, this for me, no. I know we need to enjoy sex in marriage, but these ones, no. Because there are many mad people even in church. Am I speaking to anyone? Okay? But remember, it's here day 3. Nisikia pameanza kusex chat. I always see in the spirit. So you cannot hide. And I'm not threatening. Mungu anaweza niletea WhatsApp conversations saa 9 usiku. Nione jemo How are you? Oh, you are in bed. What are you wearing? My friend. Are you a dorm prefect to inspect how men are sleeping? Otherwise, that's my time. Peter, I've still not shared on the 7 people you ought to run away from. The 7 people. I will mention them, then we'll dig deeper. Number 1, I call the first person a terminator. This is a person who comes and you can guess they will kill your dream, your ambition, your faith, your everything. Everything dead. Terminators. Run away. Are we together? The second one is a trophy. All they do is display you to their colleagues. Unimtutu kazi yake ni kufloss na wewe. There is no future, there is nothing. Ni kuringanga tu na wewe. Number 3, it's a handbag. Wewe ni wakubebo kwa mikutano zote. Marura shoma, baby shower, nini, unabebangwa tu. Now, you know, you are not going out. There is no relationship, nothing official. Unapigiangwa tu simu. What are you doing on Saturday? So nipeleke baby shower. And then unaekango hapo wanakuona unasikia, huyu ni nani? Unasikia best yangu. Handbag. Tell your neighbor, handbag. Sana sana today ndo tunapenda hiyo story. You look for one handsome guy, no unambeba kwa events zote alafu unasema, there is nothing by the way going on. No wa church by the way, hata ni wa church. But you like that attention, the two of you. And then there is a groupie. A groupie is a person who shows up when you are celebrated in life. You make strides in life. There are people who will show up. You buy a car, suddenly there are brothers who begin now to say hi. Siku za kutembea na kudropiwa na nduthi. Hata wako wanashughulika naye. Sasa siku hizo wanaona uko na funguo ya gari unasikia Bwana asifiwe sana. Jesus is Lord. Na hii gari ni mzuri. Engine power yake ni 800cc. It's an amazing car. The day you are jobless, no one cared. Now today you look like things are changing. They show up. Majority of them, they will show up in the level you have entered. I've tasted celebrity life. And it's like there are women who wait for you to reach a certain level. They know the vibe. They look like celebs. They behave like celebs. They look like where you have entered. But they don't know your tears. They are called groupies. Are we together? Number 5, soldiers of the same struggle. Soldiers of the same. Hizi zinaitangwa situationship. Tell your neighbor situationship. Sisi wote tuko jobless. Tumekutana kwa shida moja. Sisi wote tunapitia kitu. So we are soldiers of the same struggle. And this is where situationships begin. You have a common struggle. A lot of campus people begin to live together because of this. Not relationship. Ni situations. Number 6, just friends. Just friends. Kuna mtu aliyeko friend zone. Miaka 3 uko friend zone. My friend, when you finish next year, please ask for a graduation. Friend zone, bachelor in friend zone. It's too long to stay there. These are time wasters, resource wasters. Some of the people that put you in friend zone, they want the benefits of dating, but they don't want to date you. Wapelekwe coffee. Ay. Waselebratiwe birthday zao. Alafu, in public. Asikianga, meet my friend. No, we are just friends. Imagine there is nothing. Ama kuna kwanga na kitu kevo. Hakuna. Bwana asifiwe sana. Kevo maisha yako ilibadilishwa ikakuwa ni bodyguard. Hata hapa tukimaliza mkutano utapigana push mpaka kwa stage because we are just. My friend, if you are not in the discipleship program, run away. And number 7 is a rebound. This one you run away. These are people who come to hide where you are. They are not healed. Unasikia msee anasema mimi hata nilidivorce na wife yangu 3 months ago. But nisha move on. Nilikuwa nimemarry wife for 7 years. 3 months. Na unaniambia you want to settle again? No. Hauja heal boss. You are sick. Unataka tu, you've been with a woman for long and you don't know how to live without one. So you want me to fill that gap. The day you will heal, you will live. Are you getting it? Oh, mi hata boy wangu aliniacha, niko na 4. Tulikuwa tumedate for 4 years, sasa iko 1 month. Lakini nishamsahau. Hata Beyonce alisema I can get you in another minute. My friend, 4 years. 1 month amemsahau. Tasaulika in 2 weeks. So be aware of rebounds. Are we together? Na sometimes kale kama mtu nakuanga na crash nako, ndo kana kujanga na rebound. Unaona kama ni answered prayer that the Lord terminated that one so that he can begin another program. Listen, you are not a therapist. Unaweza beba shida zote za ile relationship zimwagwe kwako. Uachwe, ile machozi utalia. Hata fistawel ya pasta haijatosha kupanguza. They are heavy tears. So allow me, we have an elder here. 15 minutes. Is that okay? And this is what we felt. We felt that many people, just 15 minutes, we have some grabbings and then we go home. 15 minutes. Tell your neighbor when elders talk, you don't walk out. This is a date. This is heavy. We are saving some marriages here. Are we together? We discovered, I spoke to Mr. Kanyinga and he told me, many people come to him and they want to get married. And there are very basic things that they don't know. Sasa inakuwa, sisi kama pastoral, tumeanza kuku-advise vitu atufai kuku-advise. Wewe ulipata mtu, haujui kunaendanga aje. So, uko hapo, uko na pressure, unataka kufanya harusi in 3 months, unataka kusaidia, unataka kuweka committee, unataka wazee sijui wakupeleke wapi, and you don't know. So, and this one may not be life, because this is household. Is that okay? Is that okay? So that now they can talk as fathers to us. Are we together? So God bless you.